Okay, so welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'll be dropping a lot of Forex related content in the future, and I'll be doing this weekly Forex Analysis every week, and you don't want to miss out on that, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. So on your screen now are the 10 pairs that I'll be analysing today, so let's get into it. Okay, so first up we have Euro USD. So if we go in the monthly really quick, we can see that we have this large wedge pattern here. So price has been respecting this trend line here, and price has been respecting this trend line here. So I'm expecting price to come and consolidate and eventually break up to the upside or break down to the downside. And we'll make that judgment when price gets nearer to the end of the pattern. So if I go into the weekly, we can see that we have this monthly trend line here, and we've had this weekly trend line here. So if I zoom in, you see that price has respected this weekly trend line with the recent test here, but I am expecting price overall to move and test this monthly trend line. So we need a pullback, and then we're going to go and test that trend line. So if we go in the daily, so price has had a hard time breaking the weekly trend line, and had a hard time breaking back down to break this level. So if we get a pullback to around here, so price comes back and tests, and then maybe we can expect price to break this weekly trend line and go test the monthly, or maybe price breaks this level and comes back and tests this trend line, this daily trend line here, which is either test there, test here, and a test here. So maybe we get another test around that level and push back up to test the monthly trend line here. So I'm looking for USD to break through this level and maybe test this level here and go back up, or break down and test this level in the next few days. Okay, so next we're going to see what's happening with USD JPY. So if we go in the monthly again, we can see that price has just been ranging from this level to this level for a long time. It had its breakout here, it's come back in and it's still ranging in this level. And we've got this trend line here, which I think price is going to come back and retest soon. So if we look on the weekly, we've had this descending triangle pattern. So price has been respecting this trend line, and price is having a tough time breaking this level around here. So I'm expecting price to eventually break out from this descending triangle pattern, to break up and test that monthly trend line that I was talking about, but still price could still break down and come back to hit this level. But I am favoring price to break up and test that monthly trend line. So if we go on the daily, we've got this ascending channel pattern. I know that there's a lot of volatility and it's broken this channel pattern a lot. So got this break here, and this break here, but we do have this upwards, we do have this ascending channel pattern. We've got a test there, a test there, a test here, and a test there. So I'm expecting the price of USD JPY to rise. We could have a retest of this trend line here and then make the move up to test that weekly trend line, or it could make the move here. We have that engulfing pattern, so prices come back down below that level here, and then we have that engulfing pattern closing back above that level. So we could get the move from that to test that trend line, or we could get the move to test this trend line, the daily trend line, and to go back up and test that weekly. But there still is a possibility of price just ignoring this trend line, breaking down and going to test this lower level here. But I'm favoring price to rise and test that weekly trend line again. Okay, so let's take a look at USD CAD now. So if we go to the monthly, we can see that we have this longer trend line here, this monthly trend line. So we can see that price has tested it once here, a second time here, false breakout there, and again here. So price has been respecting this trend line quite well. So if we go into the weekly, we can see that I've drawn this ascending channel pattern. So price has tested it once here, again there, a third time here. There's a false breakout here. It came back in, and we have a recent test of that same trend line again this week. So I'm expecting price to keep respecting this trend line and come back and retest that monthly trend line. So if you look in the day, you see that we have that big impulsive candle, so price come down quite strong, had that big impulsive candle retesting that trend line. So I'm expecting to see some correction and then another push back up to reach this monthly trend line eventually, or we can get another test of this trend line, or maybe a double bottom, and then price rises back up to test that monthly trend line. But we do need to be aware that price could just ignore this trend line here, this trend line that I've been talking about all the way up there. So price could just fall, have a retest and fall back down. And if that is the case, I am expecting price to come back and retest this level here. So we do need to be aware of both situations, but I am favoring price moving back to retest this monthly trend line. And then next we have Euro GBP. So if we go to the monthly, we have this level here that price has been struggling to break through since 2007-ish. So yeah, price has been struggling to break that, and we have this upwards trend on the monthly. So I'm expecting in a long time, an overall test of that same trend line. And if you go to the weekly, we have another upwards trend line here and here, and a test there. And I'm expecting another test of this trend line soon as well. So if we go to the daily, we've got this daily upwards trend. We've got the test initially there, the second test here, and the third test here. So I'm expecting, because price is struggling to break through this level here, this price, so I'm expecting price to maybe consolidate a bit more, then break out of that trend line with a lot of momentum, or break up to this level here, and then break out that trend line and make that overall move down to that weekly trend line I was just talking about. But price could still, because it is respecting that trend line quite well, it could still move up all the way up to here to test that same monthly resistance level that price has been struggling to break, and then break that trend line to get that overall move to the bottom. But I am expecting price to break through of this daily trend line soon, either here or here, and get that move down. Now let's check out NZD CAD. So again, we go to the monthly and we zoom in. Oh, not that much though. Okay, so you can see that we have this trend line here. So we've got the touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here. So price is constantly making lower highs, given that's that downwards trend. But price is struggling to break this level here. So this trend line and that level gives a descending triangle pattern. So I'm expecting price to break out this pattern eventually and give us a move back up to this level up here. But of course we still get a breakdown, and if we do so, I'm expecting price to come and test this level here. But I am favoring price to break up to eventually hit this level up here. So now if you could take a look at the daily, we'll zoom out a little bit. So we've had that bull rally with no pullback, and we've come to test this resistance here. So it's either price is going to break through this resistance and hit that monthly trend line that I've been talking about and get that move back down, or this resistance holds and we get the move back to this daily trend line. Either again it holds or it breaks and moves down. Currently I'm favoring price to break through this resistance, come back to retest this trend line and get the move back down. So now we're going to see what's happening with AUD USD. So if we go to the monthly, you can see that we have this trend line here. Test there, test here, and recently another test here. And we can see it better on the weekly. So we've had the break of the trend line on this candle, and it's come back and closed below the trend line here. And we've got this weekly trend line that I've drawn. We've got a touch there, and again another touch here. It's broken out and closed back in the same trend line as well. So we can see this better on the day. So you can see that price has broken through the trend lines, come back and close below. And we've got this daily trend line that I've drawn, which I'm expecting to break soon. So I'm expecting this trend line, this daily trend line to break, and these two monthly and weekly trend lines to be respected, and price to break down to at least this level and see how price reacts with here, maybe correct the pattern and break down to test this level here. But there's still a possibility that this long move here could just be a start of a new trend, and this could be a retest of maybe a level here or a level here, and we get a move to break these trends and form a new trend to go up. So you have to be aware of that as well. And next we have GBP NZD. So if we go to the monthly quickly, we can see that we have this downtrend here. So we can have a touch there, and then recently we had another touch here. So we're in a downtrend here, and we're looking for another touch of this same trend line again soon. So if we go to the weekly, you can see that we have this ascending channel here, and price been respecting it. We had a touch here, and again touch there, but it touched this weekly trend line and the monthly trend line that we're talking about. And we have a touch here, touch there, touch here, and we could be looking for another touch here before we get the move back up. So yes, I'm favoring that GBP NZD is gonna rise in the next couple of days and weeks maybe. So if we look at the daily chart, so we've hit this level here and price has struggling to bounce off it, and it's struggling to break it as well. So possibly we could get a break and then pause back up, and then we go look for that monthly trend line, or we get a break to test this ascending channel, and then we get the break back up. But overall I'm favoring price to go up in GBP NZD, but there is obviously still a chance that price could obviously ignore this trend line, break through it and move down. And if we are, I'm expecting price to eventually to come back and test here before we get the move back up to test this monthly trend line. Let's look at CAD JPY now. So if we go to the monthly, let me zoom out a little bit, we can see that we've got another sort of wedge pattern here. We've got this trend line and this trend line. So you've got a touch there, a touch here, and I'm looking for another touch soon as well. And you can see that we had a touch here, a touch here, and we had a touch here recently as well here. And I'm expecting price to respect this trend line and give us a move to this monthly trend line now soon. So if we go to the weekly, you can see that we have this weekly trend line, touch here, touch here, touch here, and I'm expecting a move eventually to touch this trend line as well. And you can see that if we go to the day, we've had a very strong move up, no pullback to here, and then we get a very strong decline as well, very strong rejection. So I'm looking for price to see if it can hold at this level, or maybe even come back down to touch this trend line and then make the move back up there. So, but I am expecting price to reverse and go back and retest this trend line. Okay, so now we're going to look at GBP USD. So if we go to monthly, and we've got this monthly downwards trend here, and we're expecting another touch soon. So if we go to the weekly, we can see that we've got this weekly downwards trend, and again we're expecting another touch of this weekly trend soon as well. So, and then we go to the daily, we've got this daily upwards trend, and we're expecting price, and this is the weekly trend here, we're expecting price to eventually reach that. So now price could do a number of things, but I'm expecting either price to break through this trend line, test this level or test this level and get that move back up to that weekly trend line, or price could respect the daily trend line, hit this daily trend line, which has made a touch there, made a touch there, and possibly another touch there, come back down and then make the move up, or price could just respect this trend line completely and just make the complete move to that weekly. I'm favoring that price does in fact just break this trend line and reach this level and then make the move up there. But anything could happen, but we need to see how price reacts with this trend line on the early days of next week. So that will make up my decision whether price will either respect the trend line and make the move up, or break it and move down. And last but not least, we have GBP CAD. So if we go to the monthly, you can see that we have these two trend lines here, and I'm expecting price to reach one of these soon. So we've got this wedge pattern here, and if I go to the weekly, you can probably see it better. So we've got this pattern here. Price been respecting this trend line quite a lot there, touch there, touch there, touch there, touch there, another touch there recently, and we've got this wedge pattern here. So I'm expecting price to eventually break out and go touch these monthly trend lines here, or it could break out to the downside, retest this monthly trend line, and then go eventually test the monthly trend lines. So if we go to the day, you can see how we've got this daily trend line here, and prices have been respecting it once, twice, a third time, and a fourth time recently as well. So I am still expecting this trend line to hold. So we could get a move down, because that's quite a bearish move down to test the trend line, maybe a false breakout, and then a move to go test that weekly trend line. Or we could have a break of the trend line, test here and then go up, or an overall test to this bottom trend line and then go up. I'm still favoring a retest of this trend line and then a move to the upside. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. And please leave a comment if you found this helpful, or if you have any questions. But till the next one, I'll see you later.